This one was really funny that I mean, it's so true. And I had to do a double take because a lot of folks wouldn't go on national TV or in cable news and say it, right? I'm driving my car and I'm watching MSNBC, Deadline, White House, I think it was on. And, Michael Glaude is talking, making some statements. And then he said it. And I'm like, what? Okay. Then I had to come home and cut the videos because you guys are going to love this. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Andrew, there's probably no one outside of Robert Mueller himself who was familiar with the investigation than you. What was your first reaction to hearing that he's back?
Well, I thought it might be useful to remind people of exactly who he is. But I also think that if you put this story together with Donald Trump's current words about people who participated in the January 6th insurrection and the assault on Congress trying to overthrow our democracy, that they're hostages and not just criminal defendants, the Paul Manafort piece just becomes just another data point for something that we already know about Donald Trump, and very much running as a sort of outlaw candidate. So this to me seems like a piece of that. But it's worth remembering that Donald Trump is praising somebody who went to trial, as is his right. Paul Manafort was convicted by a jury of his peers of 8 felonies, sort of widespread tax and bank fraud. He then pled guilty to more tax, more bank fraud, obstruction of justice. He admitted that he tampered with 2 witnesses while out on bail. That led to the judge revoking his being out on bail and sending him to jail. He also, as you noted, had ordered that internal polling data be given to his colleague, Konstantin Kilimnik, who was found by the FBI to be closely associated with Russian intelligence. And actually, after the Biden administration took over, it was confirmed and reported that that polling data went to Russia, didn't just go to his associate, that it actually did make its way all the way to the Kremlin. So this is somebody who has a history, a litany of felonies that are quite serious, that usually is not something that is on the resume of somebody who is a campaign manager of one of the 2 major parties in the United States.
So, Eddie, after hearing everything that, Andrew just laid out, and when you look at Trump's continued inability to condemn Putin, even in the wake of the death of opposition Navalny and Russia's highly undemocratic presidential elections, which we've just witnessed over the last 24 hours, what's your assessment of the danger here? How dangerous do you think it is to have someone like Manafort coming back into our politics, back into our political process?
Oh, I think we're at, the highest threat level we could possibly imagine in some ways. And let's add to your description, Mike, what Michael Cohen said in the last hour. Given the bond that he can't make, where is he going to get this money? It actually opens him up to all sorts of influences in so many ways. I think it's so clear to me that the failure to hold Donald Trump accountable over the course of his life has led this man to be able to think that he can act with impunity, that he can act without being held responsible for anything. The idea that Paul Manafort, given what Andrew just laid out, can re-enter politics boggles my mind. And to be honest with you, and I know this may sound a bit, obsessive on my part, damn, white men get breaks, man. I mean, could you imagine?
One more time, Eddie.
There you go.
One more time for the people who didn't hear it.
Damn, white men get breaks, man.
Please.
But could you imagine anybody else being able to do this? Whether it's Trump or Manafort or whomever? It just blows my mind, Mike.
I got nothing.
We got to repeat that clip in slow motion.
Damn, white
got nothing.
I mean, Glaude is right. How many things does Donald Trump have to do to actually pay a price for, to have the population at large pay a price for? But it's, people would say, well, that is Donald Trump. It is Donald Trump, and he's a special person, a billionaire, and maybe some other unique person would have that same thing. But then Donald Trump says, I am going to go ahead and bring back in my former campaign manager who was convicted, and nobody says he can't do it. It's like, all right, if he brings him in, he's disgraced, but he brings him in, he gets a chance. So you see why Eddie Glaude says what he says, because again, it is like, if Manafort can come back after being convicted of felonies, after spying for the Russians, after doing all these things, and he comes back into the fold, do you think Obama or any one of these guys could get away with it, or any woman would get away with it? Hillary Clinton or any? Hillary Clinton didn't even do anything with regards to emails. They talk about scrubbing servers and all of that. They don't know what they're talking about. Emails are all over the place in the ethos. So her having a server in her home, that was the least concern as far as security for emails. But the media knows it, but they don't expand on it. But when Donald Trump talk his stupidity as well, they make it seem as if, oh, it's big thing. But also, again, we ask, these guys are thugs, and we accept them into leadership. We accept them as being okay. Eddie Glaude, I get it. Some of us don't have that privilege of being able to either make mistakes or being able to be thugs, visual thugs in what we do. Wow, that was beautiful. And the panel all thought it was beautiful. This great multicultural panel got itself a great laugh, because sadly, that is still America today.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.